For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Sending you guys a bit of a review video on a kind of new / updated product from Zempire. So with me here today, I have got the brand new Zempire Aerodome Pro 3 V2. So the V2 stands for version 2, so it's essentially the latest model from Zempire regarding their update for the 23 season going forward. So quite a lot of changes. So what they've really done is thought about the product and get a really nice big refresh. The Dome range, as we've known from many years now, it's been very, very popular just because it ticks a lot of boxes, offers something a bit more, as it's just podded like a dome, and sort of sleeping off it. So you have separate sleeping areas per each person, but a main central living hub and a front section. Big news for sort of the 23 season is the fact that we've changed the fabric. So they've changed the fabric, gone for, still kept that really strong 210 denier 420 ripstock running through it material, but they've actually managed to enable and keep color retention. So the joys this means is that the fabric is going to look sharper for longer, and still by far and away has the highest spec material than any other brand on the marketplace. It's still a United Nations spec, which is still ridiculous, but that's kind of testament to how Zempire really are and what they like to do. And it's the fine details of them that really do make a difference, as we kind of know and love, and certainly people who go to the brand tend to stick with the brand for those kind of reasons. Very quirky in their nature. So we've got that kind of new fabric, a new colour tone, which, well, if you like your brown, you still got your brown, so you haven't got to worry about that. And it's kind of matching kind of sort of a luminous yellow or green, depends on what you want to call it, really. But like I said, it's the fine details that really make the difference. So the testament to kind of their level of intricacy, what they like to do is this little line down lines here. It's an absolute pain in the ass, I imagine, to actually physically stitch, put together, but notice how it goes thinner to fatter and it carries on the way all up the window. That's kind of really fine detail to physically put together, and it's kind of sums them up quite nicely. And we notice this really with the specification of this model is things like your metal rings on all of the webbing straps, tension points, the gold coloured guide points, which are nice strong metal. It's always little things add up, and why you pay the money for what you get, like anything really. Another big change for really the Aerodome is the fact that now the front is kind of naturally open. So what we've got here is situated in an optional wall set, which allows you to obviously enclose the front if you wanted to. What they've done is actually increase the height of the main tube here by 20 centimeters, just to make the area feel a lot more usable, and generally it does. But it also means that you've got options to have smaller pack sizes because the front's not necessarily on it, and then you can use the wall kit. So again, you can utilize how you want to use the tent. You still have the option of gold winging it out. So with the wall kit, that's an optional extra. You get a full mesh one like we can see here, a full normal one, which kind of is just plain windows, which you can see here. Or failing that, you have no one at all, like this. So that's how the tent should actually kind of look and give you a bit more of an idea about it. So it really does try to change the dynamic of it. Key things that we still have is sort of webbing storm straps located on the front, but also along the side to get it looking really smart. And the one thing you can certainly see by doing that, how crisp that roof really looks. You've still got high quality features like slightly tinted windows. Admittedly, it's probably not as tinted as previous models, and new sky windows as well to add light into it. So that way, you're not, even when you want your privacy, you can still get natural light directly into the tent itself. Little side door located here, admittedly it's not on the other side, just as one side, allows you to kind of, when you've got it fully enclosed, still come and go from the tent itself quite nice and neatly. And the key thing being, as New Zealand brand is all equipped for hot summers and colder winters, almost extremes of what we get in the UK. So by doing this, it means that they are probably the best vented tents on the market. So every single panel has some sort of mesh built into it directly, be it a full mesh window, which you can then zip up to get your privacy, low level ventilation points, or even the rear panels have this massive ventilation right at the back and going up a bit further. So, and we'll look at that a bit later on when we go inside and seeing that from the inside and how that makes a big difference. Very simple and easy to pitch. I think I've done the two certainly on my own in the best part of about 10 to 12 minutes, and it can be done singly on their own. One thing I do quite like is which is kind of a bit deceiving, is the pack weight and pack size for the high specification it is. You get it from other brands, your pack weight will be probably looking over 50 kgs. With this, it's I think it's in about the 40s remit, which I think for the size of the tent it is, and obviously the pods and everything coming off it, I think it's really quite good. Tell you what we do, let's pick the camera up, let's move ourselves inside and talk through a load more features that the new Aerodome V2 has to offer. So now we're inside the tent, you can probably appreciate for the sort of the main zones we have in it. So we've got obviously the front awning area, we've got no ground sheet, we've got the sort of main living section, which is kind of the main hub of the actual tent itself, sewn in ground sheet throughout it, and then the bedroom pods all off it. So for me, like I said, increasing that height, much more usable space. I've took the door off of the front of it, so this is how it would naturally come as an open kind of front tent. But it's a great area for sort of a bit of cooking here, and you've also got airflow coming around, so you can get the circulation inside of here. But again, me being 6'2", stand up in the corners quite happily. Got the side door, so you can use that as your main point of call if you were to seal that front directly in. Mesh windows to either side in the first panel, and then where the door sits opposite it, you've actually got the sort of PVC window and half mesh. The joys of this being is actually it can actually tear itself out a little bit. So what that allows it to create is actually kind of a ventilation point that still happens while you have sort of privacy. So what I mean by this is it comes out to here and that pulls in like so. In fact, let's just do it for the sake of doing it. And it's a good way of actually still having a decent airflow even when the weather even is not the best. So you see there it pulls back and you've got the airflow coming directly down, which again is a really quite nice little feature. Straps along the bottom again to stop you oversplaying the beams, and each beam, like I said, on the outside is done individually itself. When we move into the main kind of living area, the first thing you see is a little bit of a step into it. Now, this is because you've got Zempire's 360 door, so it's a door that can completely enclose it, but the main thing is you've got mesh built into it as well. So you've got the door itself, which tucks away into a little pocket when you don't need to worry about it. Even the detail on, let's say, the pullers are like luminous as well. So again, small little flying things like that work really quite nicely. And as you can see, really great door coverage. What you can do is open up the door within the door to a certain extent, and you've got your full mesh, and you've got two pullers on there as well, so you can create yourself a little veranda with the mesh, but still have the breathability. So that's going to be quite crucial, really, for when you're in a night time. You have a lantern on the inside of it, but you can still have the airflow in and not having that bug barrier coming through. And certainly if you go for the wall kit and have the mesh wall in place, you've almost got like a secondary barrier involved there. So again, as I mentioned earlier, ventilation is the key throughout this tent. So standing in the main central dome, tons of room, head by height, hanging point for a lantern. I'll bring the camera in a sec as well. But the main thing is the bedroom scenarios you got off here. So you've got essentially two berths either side and a 4-berth right at the back. Now, this almost, to a certain extent, is almost like a perfect kind of 4-person tent, even though really, literally, you're looking at variant 8, if not a little bit more. The bedroom depths are in the region of sort of about they're that way, about 240 long that way, and about 180 wide. So, to be fair, if you had kids, you could sleep them all in like a long line. One thing we'll talk about here is that you've got a divider place in this section here as well, so it allows you to really, in theory, properly have 4 bedrooms, a 2, and 2 and 2. You remove that, really for me that becomes the master bedroom, which works quite well, and it's the fine details again with like storage pockets built on the front, so you can really help to declutter your main living space. Those pockets are also featured in the back section as well, so you've still got the same level of storage when you're inside. Little cable points located high to allow air, to have your little light quite nice and neatly coming in there. So not only have you got kind of a main hanging point for kind of the lantern, but you've also can basically kind of run the cable directly up to hang quite nice and neatly down there. So located on this side here is little Velcro tabs leading down to a cable entry point, which kind of leads in directly to the front, hence that kind of point there. In fact, let's bring the camera inside and give you a better feel for the tent itself. So as we kind of come in, you appreciate the side there, we've got all the curtains quite nice and neatly done up. There's a big nice vent up there with a window as well, so you allow the light to come through. If you want the privacy, you obviously zip it up like we have here. Failing that, you undo that, and it's going to give you even more airflow into the tent. As we sort of sit in kind of from the bedroom side of things, you can see kind of the canopy depth with also that little side door located. Now, bedrooms wise, we can see we've got a really generous 2-berth, so I've zipped the bedroom up just to give you a bit more of an idea about it, and you've got a storage pocket built inside. What that in fact is actually looking like this. So we've got a really generous, like really great depth on there. And I've opened up the vent right at the back, which you can do from the inside again, so you haven't got to go outside to close it when the weather does come down. And there's two almost parts there. Can't really see it. You've got the part from the bedroom, and then the actual part on the actual tent itself. And again, hanging points located in the top here, and those internal storage pockets that we sort of see replicated on the outside. You can probably, it's a nice little shot there actually. You've also got on the side ones a little storage pod built down the sides. So it's a zip divided from there, so if you wanted extra length for any reason, you can always use that, or use it like we have here as a little storage section. That's located on both sides of there, so the two bedrooms. When we come to the floor, big old nice divider. You've got a rear door as well in there, which has got full mesh built into it. So again, you can maximise that airflow or roll it down quite nice and neatly. But yeah, again, still storage pockets built in there, and the door can nip away into the side pocket to keep it neat and tidy, no longer having to roll it away, for example. And then we've got the little clip located at the top. It's just going to help catch condensation, keeps the tubes hidden as well, which is also quite nice. We'll kind of have a little monitor out of it and kind of get a bit more of a feel for what it looks like on the outside. Do a little 360 round. But you've got little Boston valves located at each bottom, so you can see it's quite easy to get the air out when you need to. Low level ventilation points down the bottom, and you've got that airflow. So on a day like today when it's breezy and it's quite warm, it's definitely beneficial to have that. And I think I really do like the new colour frame. We've got a slightly darker tint to the roof as well. It's designed to work with the bedrooms, which are a bit darker inside, so when you're inside of it, you should hopefully get a better night's sleep. And then you've got storm straps directly on the back, which kind of marry up with the ones that you have on the front, and you can see kind of that rear door with that panel. And of course all the extra guide points, and again the detailing, reinforced stitching, and those little gold metal points. Again, looks really quite smart. And then even when from the outside, so you want visibility, you can probably just about see there, through maybe. So again, you can have visibility of the kids regardless of what's going on, while sort of also keeping your tent quite nice and airy. But all in all, like I said, probably for me, the Aerodome 3 is probably the more favourable model out of that and its almost little sister to a certain extent. There's no real differences really in kind of the front canopy or the main living area. Difference being is the bedroom side. So what you find with the two is that you have a rear door directly here, 2 berth on one side, 4 berth on the other. So it's really a very, very comfy 6. So realistically, if you want something that's sort of comfy 6, or depends what you want, that for me is also worth a look. And we've done a separate video on that as well, so you can check that out and compare and contrast between it. Lots of options in terms of making it bigger if you want to, with the Aero base, which essentially is an inflatable shelter that can go on the front, and you can link it directly to that as well to make it a massive tent. And we've got separate videos on that as well. But all in all, that's kind of a little video review on kind of the Aerodome 3. The V2 version for me is a really nice improvement. I think the option of different frontage, the increase of the height, the fabric makes it feel a lot lighter without sort of compromising on quality. And generally the versatility it works. It's not, admittedly from a price point of view, it's not necessarily cheap, but you pay for what you get. And certainly from the sizing of it, it ticks a box for those families who want separate bedrooms. And okay, maybe the living area is not quite as big as it could be, but you can extend on further if you're really after that point. But it's a sufficient area to have a table and chairs and create this like as a central hub to the actual tent itself. But all in all, I do love this tent in terms of what it offers. And again, there's nothing really on the marketplace that is like this and certainly competes with it to any certain level. And as I mentioned previously, I think from a pack size, you'll struggle to get something that packs down smaller than this for the size and specification. So all in all, it's about it really. It's one we always try to look up on our display, because usually the size of it being indoors can be tricky. So it's always worth to contact us to see if we have got on display to see it in the flesh. We'll always have something of the Aero range in stock, be it the normal sort of Pro TXLs, that sort of stuff. But feel free to let us know. For more information or more even nitty-gritty details on that, check the link below this video. It'll take you straight through to our website. We have all the information about sort of pack sizes, weights, floor dimensions, optional extras you can go for, package deals. It goes on and on and on. And let us know what you think of the tent as well. It's always great to have feedback from you guys and see if you prefer the new V2 options and how they've improved it. Again, we always feed things back to Zempire as well. So it's if you don't like it, we let them know, quite simply as that. But Any more questions, queries, feel free to let us know. But thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.